Hey, Happy New Year, Happy 2023. Welcome to Joanne's 2 Cents podcast. I am super excited to welcome each one of you to our first episode of 2023 and our 9th episode all round. If it's your first time here, welcome aboard. My name is Joanne and welcome to Joanne's 2 Cents podcast. This is a safe space where we talk about all things growth, self-discovery, all the unsolicited conscious conversations that enable us, that help us to live fulfilling and intentional lives. In today's episode, I am gonna share some of the most important lessons that I learned throughout 2022. So speaking of 2022, I am not sure how yours turned out. I am sorry if you did not achieve all you had set out to. There is always room for us to do better since the new year is here. But if I may share my experience through last year, I think for me, 2022 was that year for me. And when I say that, I mean 2022 was that year where I finally fully broke the shell and decided to actually go out there and chase whatever it is that I wanted to do with my life, with my career. So while all that was happening in my life, I learned a number of lessons. And it would be very selfish of me not to go ahead and share those lessons because you never know. Those are some of the things you may have to embrace throughout 2023 to be able to have a productive, progressive, and successful 2023. So without any more delays, let's just get started. Lesson 1, there is so much power in finding yourself. We underestimate that so much, we ignore it so much, we tend to make it look like it's not that important. But I believe it's the single most important aspect of your life as an adult, as someone who's evolving and want to grow. It is important that you take the time today to find who you truly are, find your core, find who you are besides your culture, your family upbringing, your religion, besides what inspires you. Because I remember when we were kids or teenagers, we wanted to become a movie star, maybe these artists we used to watch the music videos. You are dressing like Justin Bieber or whichever person you admire. But as an adult, at some point you really have to come back to yourself, to ask yourself, who am I? What do I want out of life? That is the single most important lesson I think that set me off. The moment I decided to answer those different questions about who I am and what I want out of life, it made a huge difference in my life. And I think you should try it out this year. Since we're starting the year, you have a list of resolutions that you've listed. If you had not included finding yourself, you may want to move it up to topmost so that you move the other ones below that. Finding yourself first is very important. It may take 6 months, 3 months, a whole year, but the moment you do, you will be unstoppable. Now, lesson number 2 may come off a bit aggressive for some people, but I realize that not all of us have the same levels of ambition. Like when we are growing up and then you're like, I want to travel, I want to buy a huge car, I want to buy a Ferrari, or you want all these things. There are some of the people who are just comfortable with the bare minimum. Go to school, graduate, buy a small house, or not even to buy a house, to just afford food, or and that's really totally okay. But what's not okay, I think, is staying the same person you were a year ago. As an individual, you have to aspire to want to do more with your life. The best example I like to use is children. This year, you're pregnant. Next year, you're giving birth to a baby. The next year, she's sitting, crawling, walking, speaking, and going to school. There is change everywhere. And then I wonder why you are the same person you were last year. So it is on you. It's your responsibility to be able to want to do more with your life. We all have so much gifts to give. Take it on to yourself today to say you won't be the same person you were. The other lesson that I have learned over the past few months is that the people we see and admire and applaud and wish we were in their shoes are not lucky. It is by default that when we are applauding them or when we are watching them and celebrating them, we go like, oh, he's so lucky. But one big lesson that I learned through the past few weeks is that people are not lucky. they're very intentional with what they want out of life. It is important that you get very intentional with what you want out of life. If it's marriage, if it's your career, if it's relationships, if it's your job, if it's your family, you want to get very intentional and very specific. That way, you will be living a life that you are proud of. And when people are looking at you, they will be like, oh, Joanne is so lucky. But in actual sense, it takes sacrifice, hard work, sleepless nights. So all these people we admire, we really have to be willing to pay the price to get there. Now, this one, I may have mentioned it before, but I used to think that my life was really sad. I thought I was very unfortunate. I thought I was very outnumbered. And somehow I kept thinking someone was going to come and save me. Someone was going to listen to my story and go like, oh, Joanne is very underprivileged. Maybe she deserves a free opportunity. Sadly, no one is coming to save you. No matter how sad or how outnumbered your story may be, or no matter how you think your hands are tied, no one is coming to save you. It is all on you to be able to put in the work and be able to come out of the hole you are in. So cut all these excuses you keep making about other parties, either the schools you went to, the government, or we tend to make up all these ridiculous excuses, which may be actually true, but in actual sense, no one actually cares enough to be able to ignore their life and come and save you. So cut the pity, stop crying, stop whining. Yes, you can break down, but pick yourself up, because you are your backup plan. You're your plan B, you're your only plan. If you do not work out, there is no other way around it. So get up today and start working for the life you want. Another lesson that I learned throughout 2022 was that as adults, we really all are a work in progress, especially with our mental health. There is a lot of unresolved trauma that we are all dealing with, and in some cases you may not actually know that this is an effect of something that happened to you probably when you were a child, or something you were exposed to. But as adults, it is your responsibility to be able to heal from all these toxic traits, from all the unrighteous behavior you may have. It may be greed, it may be anger issues, short temper, or whichever flaw you may have noticed around yourself. It is your role to heal and be able to let go of that. We tend to say, that's how I was born, or that's how I was raised, or then sometimes we even put it on our star signs. I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a Libra. It is cool on the outside, but in actual sense, it's very unattractive and not a cool trait. So healing is on you. Make sure you heal so that your children do not have to heal from you. The other lesson that I learned that is actually very important, please watch what you feed your mind. The power of your thoughts, the things that are going on in your mind, have the power to make or break you. If you're feeding off things that are unproductive, you're going to have a very productive lazy day. If you're feeding off information that's either a book or something that builds up your spirit, that pumps you up, that psychs you up, it will show in your work you do, in the work that you're doing. It will show in the people you're around. And these small practices, reading a book, maybe reading a few lines that boost your esteem, will eventually project on the outside. So watch the information you feed your mind. Like from movies, from the books you read, the phone, because we spend a lot of time on our digital devices, yeah? So if it's filled with like 5 hours of unproductive TikTok videos that are just people laughing, those 5 hours every day, every week, every month is a lot of time that has a huge effect on how you live your life. So tame it, mold it, filter it so that it's something that's of value to you. Now, this one is very important and very personal to me. I am smiling while talking about it. Last year, I winged my way at so many things, and I'm sure you won't believe me if I tell you that I actually turned out not so bad. Winging is you throwing yourself at things. Let's say you want to be a basketballer and you're not good at it, but you really love it. So you just go ahead and start playing anyhow. While you're playing, then you watch videos, you ask someone to help you, you look out for knowledge to be able to play the game better. I cannot tell you how many things I winged my way at through 2022, and boy, oh boy, I turned out just great. So wing your way at things, throw yourself at things you want to do, throw yourself in those uncomfortable spaces that make you freak out, that make you feel like you're an imposter. That is growth. It's the only way you're gonna grow, because you're never gonna be qualified enough to do something. So take a chance on yourself and go for anything you want to do. You have the power to chase anything you want in this life. It is all in your head and self-belief and, the conversations you have with yourself. So if you love it enough, you will learn on the way. You will be open to learning all the time, because you know you're not good at it, but you're willing to learn. One other important life lesson that I've learned is the power of journaling. To be able to write down and manifest the things you want to do with your life. I have shared about this before on Instagram, but the more you write down, because we are more into the digital era now. We write way less than we used to when we were in school. Journaling will help you to keep on track with the things you want. So it's at the start of January, it's the best time to exercise journaling. Get a notebook, write down different things, because this is how personally I'm doing it, so I'll take you guys through. I journal down, I write down different categories of the things I want to do in life, because just like you, my life is also divided into different fields. My faith, same as religion. My faith, my finances, my family, my career, my job, my relationships, different categories, my health. So under those, I list down the things I want to be able to achieve or to do better. If it's health, I want to be able to probably say make 10 push-ups every day, or if I'm struggling with a health condition, I want to be able to beat it by this period of time. If it's finances, I want to be able to save up this much in this period of time. That way, in the next 3 months, if you write it down, you will know, yes, I wrote down 5, I've achieved so far 3. That way you're able to track your own progress. It is an easier and very effective way to be able to track your progress, because it's very understandable for you to forget, to say so many things. I want this out of this year, but then it's hard for you to keep up with all the things you want in life. So if there are moments where you feel motivated, or after speaking to your mentor, usually that's what I do. I journal down a lot after speaking to my mentor. If you have phases of those, or a friend or a coach, please write down these things. It's very, very effective and very important, because along the way something else may come in mind. If there was a redirection, let's say you moved, or it is easier for you to assess yourself and applaud yourself at the end of a given period of time and say, I did great in this 6 months, or in this year. One other lesson that I learned throughout this year is stopping the habit of saying, I will start when I'm ready. You are never going to be ready. I am going to share something about this podcast. I wanted to start this podcast, I think, a month or 2 before I actually started. There was a lot of procrastination, self-doubt. My God, I did a lot of back and forth. I kept making excuses. I don't have the microphone. I don't have the phone. You see now, I kept making a huge number of ridiculous excuses. And I kept thinking I was not ready. But in actual sense, I was limiting my own self. If you really love something and you're committed to it, you will never be ready for it, because you hold it in so high regard. You think it is for, experts or something, and somehow you're always limiting yourself. So if you're in that space today, please stop saying you will. You need to actually start doing today. If it's those push-ups, start making them today. Do not say I will. You do not know what tomorrow holds. You do not want to wake up one day and say, I did not live my best life, while you are holding back with these ridiculous excuses that actually didn't even make sense. So go out there today and chase whatever it is you want to do. You will figure it out while you're on the way. Okay, I could go on and on about the different things that I learned through this year. They are endless. I'll keep sharing most of these on my stories. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll keep sharing these as much as I can. But all I can say is, while we head into 2023, it is important that you are intentional as a person. It all starts there. The moment you're intentional that this is what I want out of life, this is how I want to live my life, most of these things will really come so easy for you. You will stop the self-doubt, you will be brave, you will cry, you will break down, but you will not give up, because you are intentional about the life you want to live. All these conversations will make so much sense to you if you finally make that brave choice of being intentional. You filter your space on who you give your time, the things that take your time, the information you feed your mind. So as we head into this year, I hope it's a productive and fruitful year for us. I hope it avails bigger opportunities for growth, for proving it to ourselves that there is more we are capable of every day, and we're constantly living beneath what we can do. So if you're out there and you're trying to figure things out, you're not alone. I am over here and I am figuring life out every single day. I am scared most of the time, but I still show up anyway. So I think it's the showing up that matters. So don't lose hope, don't lose faith. One day at a time. It is slow, you can drag your feet, but show up anyway. Show up tired, show up half-baked, unready, sweaty, whichever way, but show up. While you show up every day, perfect your craft, grow at it consistently, one day at a time. So thank you for taking the time to listen in to this episode. I hope you learned a thing or two, or you reminded yourself of a thing or two. I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for listening. Bye. Happy New Year.